Hello, everyone. This is the Poets Lounge. We are super excited. Hello, everyone. This is the Let me go here. Okay, welcome. Hello, everyone. How are you? I am Paulette Henson, and this is the Poets Lounge. And I just want to welcome you all to the show. Let's see if we can silence our little music here. And although it's sounding pretty good, we're going to just wait just a few moments as poets begin to come on. It looks like, from what I can tell, we have a pretty full show, so I am super excited. I definitely want to welcome you all to the show. I thank you all for supporting the Poets Lounge. This is we're going on our 14th show, and we're just, hanging in there, really setting that platform for poets to speak their truth. Poetry is life, and oftentimes authors and writers, this is their way of expressing either times that they've gone through in their life, good or bad. And so I have been a fan of poetry for a number of decades, ever since the Deaf Poetry Jam back in the day. And so one of the reasons why I created this platform is to give our poets a chance, to speak their truth. So with that, I'm not going to hold you off too much longer. Um, I have an author friend. Her name is Clarice Annette Brooks, and she wrote a book called Excuse Me While I Live My Life. And it's a poetry book. And so I'm going to read a poem uh, from her book. And this one is called The Lesson. I realize that it is time, you see, to teach you how to treat me. Not as you want, but as I say. So get this lesson down today. Regardless of the mood you're in, if worries are making your head spin, whether your mood is high or low, don't lash out at me for your own ego. You might be stressed and want your say. I know at times it gets that way. But watch how you come to me and talk. Because trust me, I can turn and walk. I won't engage or act in kind. Won't leave that kind of rep behind. I'll stay respectful, but I will turn to you and tell you just a thing or two. Like, get yourself together, friend, before you speak to me again. Catch yourself, regain control, calm your mind, and ease your soul. I will listen, I'll be here. Do not think that I don't care. What you're feeling truly matters, so I'll try to give you helpful answers. So come now, I believe that we can start anew. Tell me, please, how do you do? And so with that, I'd like to welcome poet Christian Foster. Hi, Christian. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing good.
Awesome. Awesome. So happy to have you on the show today. And it's good to see you. I know I've missed you a couple of times, but thank you for joining us again. And you can go ahead and speak a poem.
Okay, 1 second.
All righty. And so while Christian is getting his poetry together, we just to let you all know, we meet once a month on the first Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that's 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So we welcome poets that want to get rehearsal and speaking their poetry. This is a great opportunity to do that. And so without further ado, I'd like to bring Christian Foster to the stage. Christian, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me. I want to just introduce myself. My name is Kristen, but you can call me Chris, because some people call me Christian, and that's incorrect.
My, I'm so
My poet stage name is Original Poetry. I am a self-published author. I'm a poet, and I have my own poetry brand. It's called Poetry Roots. I'll give you the link to the website and everything.
yes.
I have my own clothing line where all my poetry, all my stuff is on clothes and stuff, but I'll talk about that after my poetry piece. So um, I'm going to read a poem. It's called My Life is a Poem. From my early childhood to adulthood, my spirit always wrestled with navigating the tumultuous torrent of others' thoughts and opinions, seeking to discover and hear my own voice. I pen my journey, my spirit, my home, a masterpiece crafted in passion and strife. In each fading chapter, my life is a poem, each day a stanza, each moment a line, ink of my heart and rhymes divine. With metaphors blooming in gardens of time, my soul finds its music, its vibrant rhyme. For my life is a poem, a legacy spun, a symphony woven until the day is done. For every lost moment, a lesson was learned. In the furnace of trials, my spirit was turned. For the world tried to clip my wings and I still learned to fly. Teenage years spelled chaos, emotions untamed, pages marked by heartache where innocence equaled shame. The ink grew more vivid, the essence of life. For every insult, criticism, wrongdoing I let slide, it always felt like part of my soul died.
Mm.
Adulthood arrived with burdens to bear. Time penned its chapters with wisdom and care. I pen my experiences with the poetry I share. Putting one foot in front of the other, I continue to move forward, even when life may take me a few steps back. To be true to one's own poetry roots are beyond skin deep. My ethnic background, our demographical community where I sleep and rest my weary feet. There was a time where others, as well as myself, thought I was unable to speak. Then the seeds of poetries began to grow from the soil of adversity, branched out above the low level shrubs and weeds to embrace the light of the sun. A poetry that will never have to stand in another shadow, standing tall, alone, and strong, but never alone. The quill of experience wrote lines seeped in grace. Each face found its place. My life is a poem. Each experience is a totem. So I write and I live in this infinite quest, for my life is a poem and perfectly blessed. Like many of us men, we're taught not to cry, show weakness, or express emotions, although we're still human. I let my tears flow through the ink of my pen. My life is a poem.
Wow. I love that. Wow. Wow. So, Kristen, uh,
Mm-hmm.
some of the some of the words that you said in that poem, especially the one about you were taught not to cry, and I think that that is a major uh, point for I want to just say men in general, that men are taught not to express themselves. And so I like how you worded that because it speaks to you having emotions and feelings about things and not being able to express it, which, crying is a form of expression. It's not a form of weakness. And so So tell me about that. When you were writing that and you got to that point, what made you include that in your poem?
Well, what made me include that was that poetry piece, My Life is a Poem, is a response to a previous poetry piece I wrote called I Am Poetry.
Mm-hmm.
So the poetry piece, I Am Poetry, is about just, me identifying with the craft of poetry, my passion and love for writing poetry, self-expression. And it's like really therapeutic to write poetry for me because it's like an outlet. I used to I used to journal a lot, years ago. And I would always write about how my day went, the things I was grateful for. And, I also, I didn't really take poetry seriously, until like 2010. And I started writing a whole lot, but also documenting my day and just, documenting how I felt and, just getting my emotions out through writing. And the poetry piece, My Life as a Poem, is just me talking about my life experiences.
Right, right,
While the I Am Poetry piece is talking about how I identify with how I write poetry.
right. Wow. And so when you're writing, and this is just for those people that maybe have never written a poem, and my slogan for this show is poetry is life. And so when it brings you to those words and when you write it out, it's just a beautiful flow. But for a lot of people, it's a flow of experiences, right?
Mhm.
Of things that we've gone through, good and bad. And so um your poetry, it speaks to that. Every time when I hear you speak, it resonates because I can feel, that energy. And so that's one of the I think one of the things that drives me to poetry is feeling that energy behind the poem itself, and the author's inspiration. And so tell us real quick about, you said you have merchandise, you have books, or you wrote a book, a poetry book, or
Yes, I wrote several poetry books. I wrote 7 poetry books, and I published them myself. I wrote them and published them myself.
awesome.
Yeah, I built this whole brand called Poetry Roots.
Okay.
And the brand Poetry Roots is made up of 3 elements: the written word, the spoken word, and the roots of creativity. So I identify with my that creative part of my personality.
Yes.
And that's just one of my strengths that I really tapped into and I really appreciate about myself. It just helps me to elevate my self-esteem and love myself a lot more than I did when I was, growing up, because that was something I had a really difficult time with. So when I began writing poetry, it's like a self-esteem booster for me because
Wow.
no one's putting pressure on me to, be this or be that. Some people would say, well, I lack confidence in myself. But when I'm writing poetry, I don't feel that way at all. I feel like I can, fully express myself through my writing.
Yes.
That's not to say that I cannot communicate because I can. I've been in spaces where I could, where I didn't know anybody and I, was able to introduce myself, with practice.
Right.
But getting on stage and, challenging myself to perform my first poem is real. That was something I really enjoyed. Usually it would be you would get stage fright if you're, don't if you're on stage by yourself and don't know no one knows you and you're giving a speech or writing poetry or any type of thing that required you to be on stage in front of people. But for me, it was like something I know I had to do. Um, because I don't want to be one of those people at the age of 60 or 70 or whatever age I live to be, and say, well, I regret not doing this. I regret not taking the chance to get on stage and perform my poetry or, turn my poetry into its own brand and, take a chance on myself and, maybe create something and sell it and, make a profit off of it. So, getting into my Poetry Roots brand, Poetry Roots is me just, it's like it's a brand that, it's like for self-expression and, it's a judgment-free place for people who feel like they don't have a voice can have a voice and have a place where they can belong.
Yeah,
And it's not just about, writing poetry. It's about, wearing poetry,
right.
becoming poetry.
Right, right. Wow. I love that. I love that. I never thought of poetry in that way, but I see that vision and it's really there's a lot of components to that. Not being afraid to speak. And like you said, you don't know anybody, but you get on a stage and you speak your truth and that is something that can be very empowering, uplifting, and I think it's addictive that you want to do more,
Hmm.
because you get an impact from your audience, and they give you energy back based on your poetry. And so I love that you have created this brand. I think that's amazing, and it gives people that freedom to go through that door and speak their truth. And so I think that's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. So it looks like, let's see, it looks like it's you and I for the time being, and that's all good. So this I wrote this poem. It's about my tears. My tears are cleansing my soul. And amid the storm, tears gently fall, a cleansing rain, a soul's heartfelt call. Each drop a story, a burden released, emotions flowing, a sense of peace. With every tear, a weight is lifted, a healing balm, emotions sifted. They cleanse the soul like rain on earth, reviving the spirit, granting rebirth. The pain, the joy, the memories deep, in teardrops they gather emotions to keep. A river of feelings flowing pure and true, washing away sorrows, making hearts anew. Each tear is a whisper, a tale to share, a language of emotions beyond compare. They speak of strength, of vulnerabilities, grace in their silent cascade. We find our place. So let them fall, these tears so dear, each drop a testament to emotions clear. And in their gentle rhythm, healing unfolds as tears cleanse the soul, stories retold. And so I wrote that poem um because I had a thing with expressing myself through tears in different ways. And I realized that I wasn't always upset. It was tears of joy. It was tears of, um, thankfulness, gratefulness. And so I think that it's redefined. I feel that it is a cleansing and it's a refresh, it's a weight lift and all of those things. And so just speaking to your point about, uh, having those emotions and expressing yourself and understanding what that is. It's not necessarily you're depressed or anything like that. It's really like a cleansing of your soul, when you start thinking about things and it's a way of getting closure. And so, um, I think in these times, I think people need to know that kind of thing, that it is okay to have emotions and to maybe intensely have thoughts on your mind, and that they're there for a reason. Maybe you need to pay attention to certain things, or leave certain things where they're at. There is a message behind that. So with that, I am going to turn it over to you. Did you have another one to share with us?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Okay. Poetic vibes. Lyrics flow freely like rivers through stone, binding the broken, making them whole. For in every heartbeat, in every breath drawn, lies the pulse of creation, a new dawn. In the garden of thoughts, I'm lost in you. My soul finds its voice in poetic vibrations. Poetic vibes inside make my soul feel alive. The world wears a mask, it often deceives. Yet poetry sheds its light on the webs that it weaves, a mirror reflecting our struggles and strife, whispers of beauty that resonate life. We gather the fragments of what lies ahead, of moments unspoken, of joy yet to be. The poetry beneath the skin, the stories lurking in the shadows, yearning to break free from within. See, I'm not just a poet, I'm a magician with the quill, casting spells with syllables, invoking passion, pushing will. In the ache of uncertainty, in the glow of twilight's glow, we find the power of connection in the roots of what we know. So feel the vibes that linger, breathe life in our chest. In each line, we discover the beauty in our quest. Let this spoken word call out like a lighthouse on the shore, guiding lost souls through the tempest. For the vibe of poetry is not just a muse, but a temptress. Transform the ordinary in sight with poetic vibes that tether us to endless light. Together we'll ignite the written, let the ink flow like the tide, with poetic vibes that resonate. We'll carve our stories, let the ink take flight.
Wow. Wow. I love that. So, and you were saying you have 4 books. You have 4 books. How many books have you written now?
Seven. I have 7 books.
7 books. Wow. Wow. And so you published them yourself, right? And so tell us about your publishing, that whole journey for people that are thinking about writing a book or a poetry book, and what that process was for you, because I think a lot of people, they will write their poems in like a little journal book, but maybe they never publish them, or they don't know that process. I know that process, but go ahead and let our audience know, how they can get started, and how was your journey?
My journey started off as, a journey of uncertainty, not really knowing, what I was going to do and, you know, um, how to go about, writing a book. But I made some connections with on this website called Meetup, and I went to this writing group in my city, and I spoke to some authors who are self-published authors, and one of them suggested that I can self-publish on Amazon.
Yeah.
So what I did was I took all the poems that I wrote. I made a Microsoft Word document, and I just copied and pasted every single poem that I wrote into one document. And
Mhm.
then I designed, because I have a graphic design background, I designed the front cover of all my books. And I wrote the title to all my books too. My first book that I wrote, it was titled Soul of My Words, Heart of My Mind. But the original title was My Reality. But because I wrote a poem called My Reality, but I know reality is subjective, so I just changed it to Soul of My Words, Heart of My Mind.
Mm.
Yeah, and it was a really profound journey that I put to create that title because I come from like a Christian background, so prayer had something to do with this as well because I prayed and asked um, what should I call this title? And then that's the answer that came to mind.
Mhm.
And I wrote the title down, Soul of My Words, Heart of My Mind. And then I, put that on the front cover. And then I published my first book on Amazon. So
Mhm.
Amazon has a website called KDP. Um,
Yes,
yeah, and then you would, self-publish that way. And then you would upload the
your
front
doc.
cover and then the manuscript. Um, and everything's in a PDF form.
Yes.
And then you have to pick out, the size that you want for the book,
Mhm.
the type of paper, whether you want like glossy paper or matted paper.
Right.
What else? And then they had like the most challenging part was like the different size guidelines because they have very strict guidelines on Amazon KDP.
Right.
Um, but Amazon is not the only website that I publish on. So that there's something called lulu.com too. You can publish on there too.
Okay.
And then there's also, I think Barnes and Noble has their own self-publishing website,
Mhm.
but I don't really use Barnes and Noble. I mostly just use Amazon and Lulu.com to publish my books. And
Awesome.
then once I published my books, I got a proof, like a PDF proof, to make sure that I approve of how the book has been put together. And then once I agree to the proof and how it looks, then I'll get an email from Amazon telling me that my book is going to be ready soon. And once it's ready, they'll say I'll get a message on my KDB bookshelf that says your book is live
Mhm.
and that, anybody can buy it on Amazon.
Yes. Yes. And so, but again, it doesn't stop there, right? You have to then publish, not publish, but market your book, and you
Yeah,
have to talk about it, and your book is your product, your that's your product is your business. And so you really do have to treat that like a business, and you have to promote it and talk about it to everybody and let everybody know, not just your friends and family, but social media, and it just goes on and on. Your book trailers, um, you know, being on podcast show, like even in this show, this is you're promoting your books, you're promoting who you are and your brand. And so that's one of the things that I want people to understand as well, that poetry is another way of publishing your art, and you can have control over the rights of your own art, your poems, by publishing your book, being a self-publisher. And so when did you write your first book? When was the first one written? Or did you do them all like simultaneously?
in 2017, in 2017, I published my first book in 2017.
Wow. Wow.
Hmm.
That's amazing. Amazing. And so, how did that go? Like, when I know the excitement of publishing your first book, when you see that your book is live on Amazon, it's a huge wow moment, because it's like, I did it, I finally crossed this hurdle, right? Did you feel that? Did you tell everybody
Yeah,
about it?
yeah. I told everybody that I knew.
Uh-huh.
And then I bought copies of my own book, and then I was a vendor for like a community event, and I sold out all my copies of my books.
Wow.
I went to open mic events and I gave out copies of my book there. I sold copies around the neighborhood and stuff where I lived.
Mhm.
I went to different, events and sold copies. So I've sold a lot more copies in person than I did online.
That's what I was going to ask you. So, that's interesting that you say that, because you have more of an impact selling your books in person. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Wow. Wow. So what does that look like? How would you say you said you sold a lot more books. And so percentage wise, what would you say that you sold more books in person versus on Amazon? Because that's an interesting point.
I would say 100% more because I get higher results in person than I do online
Right, right,
because people can see they can get to know me as the poet. I can explain, to explain to them, who I am and what inspired me to write my books.
right,
I get to sign, the physical copies of my books so they
right,
know who I am, and then they have a part of me to take with them.
right. Wow.
Hmm.
Wow, that's interesting. I always wanted to know that as a writer myself. Um, what's the difference? I really haven't gone out to sell my books like at events because I've been really busy just, cranking out magazines every month and doing the shows and that. But I'll often wonder like how actually are people doing out there when they are vending and communicating back and forth with their potential customers and do those customers, return back? Do they visit your website? Like, do you see an uptick in your overall sales of your brand in doing that?
I mean, well, back then when I was, vending and selling my books in person, I didn't have a brand back then. I didn't have a
Yeah.
website back then, so I had to do everything in person.
Right, right. Okay. And so
Yeah.
how is that going now that you have your brand and you're doing things more on a digital platform, right? With your website.
Hmm. Yep. I'm doing a lot more virtual open mics and sending out links to my website. I check the analytics and I'm getting a lot more views and traffic through, social media because
Nice.
I share my links to my websites and everything. I
Yeah.
post all the clothes I design. Anytime I design a t-shirt or a hoodie or whatever, I'll post it on my social media. And
Yeah.
then put the link to my website there.
Mhm.
And then I'll do my own live streams, and then I'd advertise on my own live streams and have people come up and share their poetry. Just last night I did a live stream on Instagram, and I
Nice.
had two amazing poets come up and share their poetry with me.
Nice. Nice. Wow. Well, I appreciate you enlightening our audience because you never know who's watching and you never know who is inspired, by your work and they want to know like how did you do that? How did you get started? And so I often will ask different poets about their journey as well as, what are they doing to continue to promote yourself? Because it doesn't stop. It's an ongoing thing that you need to do to keep yourself relevant to and I think it inspires even more poetry writing, right?
Yeah, yeah. Just recently I created this term it's called poetrified. It's like a new word I made up.
Okay,
Um,
like
and
that.
what poetrified means is it means to like embrace it's not just you're not writing poetry, but you become the poetry. Um, it's like it becomes a part of you. You live out your poetry.
Yes. Yes, that is very true. When you get to that point in your writing, that it does it you become to live it, and then you can kind of envision the words as they're right there, with different things. So I guess what I'm trying to say is the poetry it just comes out, it's easier to put it together than maybe when you first started. I guess the flow is a lot easier. Okay, so I'm gonna read a poem from Clarice's book, and this one's called Excuse Me while I live my life, which is the title of her book. Um, Excuse me, I was walking when you stepped right in my stride. I've got places to go and dreams to live, so please let me go by. I know where you're going, and I even understand. You've gone ahead and made yourself some mighty sturdy plans. But I've got other thoughts and goals that I want for you. So I'll stand right here and block you so that you cannot pass on through. But who gave you the right to try and do just so? I'm being quite polite, you see, so please just let me go. No, you see, because I want you to do just as I want you to. That's really what will please me, even if it doesn't quite please you. Why would you stifle my life or stifle my life this way and disturb my inner peace? I have my own life to make, so let me go, please. I won't talk to you if you don't live just as I say. Do what I tell you to do. You see, I want it just my way. But that won't make me happy. It will hurt me really bad. Do you want me living with regrets? Do you want me feeling sad? But just think of what others will say when they see what I've raised. I'll be bragged about and envied, admired, and even praised. Understand, I'm not a what, I'm not a who, and I love you. So understand, let me pass. Just let me go on through. Well, if you do and you don't succeed, don't come running back to me. I want you just as I want you. Can you please just see? Your words hurt so much, they cut me like a knife. All the time, all the same, I love you, but I choose to live my life. Then go and don't come back. I don't want to hear from you. You're not doing what I want or as I say to do. Goodbye. As my life begins, as I go and make my start, just know that you'll forever have a place within my heart. And I hope that we can sit again and overcome the strife. But for now, just excuse me while I live my life. Wow. So that poem, it sounds like uh that this person is breaking up with somebody, or they don't want somebody in their life, or like step aside type of thing. Is that what you got from it?
Yeah.
Like someone's getting told off. I think that, people, when they reach a plateau in their life and they're ready to shift and make some changes, this type of poem, it sort of speaks to that. Not that you are angry at the person or anything like that, but it's like just, you go your way, I'll go my way, and you know, I'll do my thing. And so I think that, relationships can be tricky, and sometimes there comes a point where it's time to make that change. And this kind of speaks to that, because it's talking about regrets and feeling sad and saying goodbye. And so this book is very interesting because she talks about a lot of different things, uh, different thoughts. And I've interviewed her on one of my shows. And she's read a lot of these poems, and so she has stories behind, what triggered her writing. Because I would agree with Clarice's poetry is that it's either connections that she's had with other people, where, as you were saying, you're living that poet, you are poetry. And so maybe it's that experience that you got from someone else that you spoke to or what have you. And she's able to capture that in her poetry. And so I think it's fascinating, because it's so descriptive, and you're able, as a person is reading it, you're able, at least I'm able to like follow along, and I can see that, I can see what they're talking about, and like I said, feel that energy. And so um thank you all for that. Okay, so Kristen, go ahead and bless us. We have about 20 minutes, and we will share some time so that you can talk about your brand some more and promote your work. So you are the highlight of the show tonight. Um,
Okay.
so go ahead and give us some more poetry, and then go into your brand and how people can find you and all of that.
Okay. This poetry piece is called I Am Poetry. I am poetry. I am the essence of expression, the embodiment of my creative style of writing. I am the pain, joy, and beauty of all the ups and downs I have experienced throughout my life. I am the spoken words I write. I am the spoken words I live. I am poetry. I am the seed, the water, and light that helps my poetry grow. I am the creative vessel that houses this poetic soul. Yes, I'm poetry. Every poem is like fruit produced on the branches of a personality. Behold the roots that run deep, purifying toxic impurities of modern society. I am poetry.
Mm, I love that. I love that. I am poetry. Yes. So you talked to us about your brand, and your 7 books. And so your books are on Amazon. So do you have a pen name, or you go by Kristen Foster?
I go by original poetry.
Okay. All righty. Awesome. And
Mhm.
so tell our audience your website. Is that
My website is poetryroots.online. So that's poetry roots with the Z. I'll type it in the chat so you can
okay?
see it. I'll send you the link.
All
One
right.
second.
Perfect. And then that
Mm,
way I can post it. By the way, to our audience, the Poets Lounge, we have a page on Facebook. And so, as well as YouTube, you can watch our shows on YouTube. But we do have the Poets Lounge on Facebook. So I will post all of Kristen's information on our Facebook page, as well as on YouTube. So make sure you check that out. Um, we have our next upcoming show. I can give you that while I'm thinking about it. Again, we meet on the first Friday of every month. And let's see, hang on 1 second. Where is my calendar? I usually have the post on the flyer, but okay, our next show is gonna be, gosh, Friday, November 1st. So it's 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So just be mindful of that for those of you that are on the East Coast. And okay, I see it. So Kristen's web address is www.poetryroots, and that's roots with a Z dot online. And so there you can find all of his merchandise. He has t-shirts, his books, and it's a community. Is that what that's what I'm getting from you? You have a poetry community on your site, right? Um,
Yes, I'm gonna send you the link to my poetry store directly. So this next link is for my poetry store.
okay. All right,
Yep. So
perfect.
all my merch, you know, like coffee mugs, t-shirts, hats is all on here too. So these are both linked, but you know, if you want to go there to the store directly, they're separate websites, but you know, the first link is my actual website where all my stuff is, all my content is, but
Okay.
this poetry website is linked to this website too, but you know, all my recent stuff is on here too.
Oh, nice,
Hmm.
nice. Okay, awesome. So with that, I think, is it my turn to read something? I guess we can have one more and then we can close out the show for today. Let's see. I had a couple, I guess I can read one of mine. Let's see. Wow. Let me find one that is not, you know, too this one was one that was it's about being racially profiled. Um okay, let's see. Gosh, I'm trying to find. Okay, so this one is it's about being a single mother, and a widow, talks about being a widow and a single mother, because you know most people, most women and men, we'll talk about just single parenting. That's not something that you plan on. It's just something that happens. And you have to go into that mode of, you know, stepping it up, you know. And so that is one of my inspirations, because that did happen to me. I became a widow and a single mom, and I had to step it up. I couldn't just, you know, sit there and dwell in grief. I had to act. And so in the shadows cast by the setting sun's glow resides a tale of strength, of love's ebb and flow. A widow's heart burdened by fate's decree, a single mother's journey, resilient and free. She walks the path with grace in every stride. In the deeps of sorrow, she finds the will to abide. Her soul, an ember flickering in the night, ignites her spirit, fueled by unwavering might. Once bound by love, now a solitary soul, she weaves a tapestry in which her children grow. Her love, a shield against life's bitter storms, she carries their dreams like precious gems in her arms. Through sleepless nights and tear-stained pillows, she finds solace in memories where love still billows. Though life has dealt a cruel and heavy blow, her spirit rises unbowed with a radiant glow. She paints their world with the hues of hope and grace, navigating challenges with a determined embrace. In the face of hardship, she stands tall and proud, a beacon of resilience in a world that's often loud. Her touch, a soothing balm on wounded hearts, her words, a symphony that mends and imparts. With tenderness, she nurtures their budding dreams, guiding them through life's tempestuous streams. As the years unfold, their hearts intertwine, a bond unbreakable, fortified by love divine. For she is the pillar, the anchor, the rock, the embodiment of strength in every ticking clock. And so here's to the widows, the single mothers true, whose love and sacrifice shine brilliantly through. May their spirits be lifted, their burdens lightened, for in their stories, resilience is heightened. And in the tapestry of life, they live an indelible mark for widows and single mothers. Forever we hark. Their strength and love, a testament to all, is a symphony of courage rising from the fall. And so that's a dedication to, single parents and who have experienced, losing that other parent or spouse. And they've just had to go into that, autopilot mode to keep the ship going, take care of their kids and do all of those things. And um, so with that, we have about 9 more minutes. Kristen, you can go ahead and you can share another poem, and then we'll go ahead and give a shout out to your business again. We want people to support you, to buy your books, and to visit your site, get some merchandise, especially if you got poetry shirts and all that type, coffee mugs. Wow, it's pretty cool.
Yes, I have lots of hoodies and t-shirts that say I am poetry. So if
Nice.
someone buys them, then they're going to become poetry.
Yes, I love that. I am poetry. I am poetry. So how much are your hoodies going for?
Um, let's see. One of my hoodies goes for, let me just open up the website. One
Okay.
second. 1 second. I'm just loading. Okay, so one of my hoodies is 40.99.
Okay.
The website that I use to create the hoodies, they generate the prices automatically. So that's that's how the price is set.
It's set there.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Neat, neat. Okay, awesome. And so I love that I am poetry. I definitely am gonna have to get one of those poetry hoodies because it'll, in my opinion, it just sparks up conversation. It's definitely an icebreaker, right?
Yes. Can I share my screen by any chance?
Yes, you can. We can check that out. Let's see. Okay, go ahead and share your screen. Let's check out your website.
Um, yes. Yep. So this is
Oh, nice.
the shirt I designed myself. It
Huh?
says I am poetry on the back. It has my Poetry Roots logo.
I like
On the
that.
front of the shirt, it says I am poetrified, and I define what that means. It means you embody, your craft. You become it. It becomes part of you. And it's not just for poetry. It's, whatever you're interested in. If you're an artist, if you're a singer, a rapper, dancer, whatever your craft is, whatever your passion is, you can
Uh-huh.
become poetrified in that thing.
Wow.
This comes in many colors. This is the in black, royal blue,
Nice.
gray, red,
Wow.
navy blue.
Wow, I love that. I love that in all sizes up to, it looks like a 2XL, from small to 2XL. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Well, go ahead and click on some other. Oh, wow. You've got a lot of really cool stuff. Poetry and tea are my remedy. Oh, that is lovely. Love that. So,
Yeah, I like poetry and I like to drink tea, so that's
yeah,
something I put on there.
nice. Very nice.
And then this one, it says poetry is life.
Yes, poetry is life. Wow.
And then this one, it says, I'm not stressed. Stress is not my identity. On the back, it says, I'm not anxiety. Anxiety is not my identity.
Mm, nice. Wow. Wow. I,
And then I have like, little canvases you can put on the wall or in your office with like different verses of my poems. This one says, the voice is the inner child that longs to grow into a man. The voice wants to be heard the way the world never heard it, felt the way the world never felt it, understood the way the world was never able to understand it. And then there's my logo at the bottom, and then
yes.
some abstract patterns, on the top and bottom of that. I have other canvases just like this, so it's like for decoration.
Yes.
And this is a t-shirt that says the exact same thing. And the poetry piece is called When a Boy Becomes a Man.
Nice.
So
That's
the concept of the design is like a man, but inside his head, it's like, he's a baby, then he's a boy, then he becomes a man. So that's like the inner child, represents the inner child.
yes. Wow. I love that.
Yep. And this comes in different colors too. This is in white, gray,
No.
royal blue, um, denim blue, and then this is in red.
Wow. You are very creative. I love that shirt. Wow.
I have hats too.
I am poetry. Yeah, I like that. Nice.
These are like this is a bath towel. It
Uh-huh.
has the elements of poetry on it. The spoken word, written word, roots of creativity.
Wow.
And then I have a whole, oh yeah, this is another t-shirt that says I am poetry on the front. And then on the back, it has the elements of poetry on it.
Nice. I like
And
how
this,
you got the microphone and you got the pen there. Yeah, the elements. That's neat. I love how that it looks like roots. Yeah, poetry roots. And that all ties in. I love that. Wow, very creative.
yep. Let's see what else I have. And this is the I Am Poetry collection. So I have like canvases, like the vertical canvas, the
Mhm.
the landscape canvas, and then there's like a little small square canvas, and then here's a coffee mug that says I Am Poetry.
Nice.
And then these are like posters for that have the elements of poetry on it, so you can hang that up on the wall.
Yeah, that's neat. Wow. You have really expanded um your entire brand. Wow, look at this. I'm
Yep.
just
So this is
enjoying your site.
a canvas. It comes in
Mhm.
different sizes. So this is an 8x8 canvas. This is a 12x12 size canvas. It goes, and then the last canvas is which is the biggest size, 16 by
Mhm.
16, and it has my poem as a man, and it talks about he yearns to break free, but still he holds on, afraid to show the cracks in his facade, afraid to be vulnerable, afraid to be weak, and so he remains, a prisoner of his own emotions, a man trapped in a sea of unshed tears, searching for a way to release.
Mhm. Wow, that's beautiful. I like the way that it's a canvas, because that's a good gift to give to a man in your life. For women, this is something like this. A man would take it and put on the wall. These are really good gifts, written by a man, and so it speaks to that inner person. I love that. Wow. Very
Yeah, most of my poems are actually inspired by my own life experiences.
good. And I love your expression because um Most men don't talk. They don't reveal themselves. And this is a creative way um to talk about those things.
Yep, this is my Poetry Roots coffee mug.
Love that. Wow. I love it.
Let's see what else. I have some other canvases too. This is a poetry piece that I wrote called A Place of Solace.
Mhm.
And then I have just one verse. It says, A sense of belonging that only I can keep, a living space of tranquility I no longer have to seek.
Yes, wow. Very good. I like how you put those on canvases. I think that's brilliant. It's a brilliant way to express your poetry. A new day's promise takes its place as a blessing, as blessings occupy my mental space. Wow. With every breath, with every step, I'm right on track when things go left. Wow, that's great. These are
Hmm.
great. Wow, absolutely. Love it. Well, what a creative way to express your poetry. I I I think that this is genius, especially with those canvases. I now that I think about when I see words on canvas, they're not verses from poems, but this is a great way to express and to promote your work. Um, Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, because whenever I go out, it's like I have to have something to uplift me to keep my mind positive because there's many different things, when you're out in public that can, knock you off your square and just put you in a bad mood. So
Yeah.
why not have something or wear something that you can look at and make you feel better about yourself, that can uplift you and boost your self-esteem.
Yes, I love that. Absolutely. I am a masterpiece of resilience. And
Yep,
it's positive affirmations as well, like
yep, that's the front and then this is the back.
poetry roots. Yes. I love that. Wow. Well, you have a fabulous website. And again, everyone, so this website, if you're able to see the link, again, I will share um, this website on the Poets Lounge on Facebook. But we wrap up. Oh, in the game of life, who holds the cards? Nice. Go ahead. And then you have on the back your poetry roots. Oh, nice. I like that.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay, well, Kristen, are there any as we wrap up today, first of all, thank you for sharing your website with us. That was amazing. I haven't seen any poets have a website so expressive with canvas and merchandise, t-shirts, coffee mugs, tea little mugs. So amazing. And I love your creativity using the verses. I really like those canvases, and I'm definitely going to promote that and tell all of my friends about it. Just want to thank you so much for your contribution, your poetry, and for embracing this whole poetry, being poetrified, because
Yes.
that is a thing. That is a thing. And you have taken it to a whole nother level. So I thank you for that. Thank you for